Greetings YouTube, LMS Tactical here. Hope everybody's doing good. I want to thank everybody for all of the nice comments you guys are leaving. Don't think I don't notice that. I really appreciate it. You know, it's not an ego thing, man. Of course, now that I defend it, that means it probably subconsciously is. Fuck, I think too much. But no, I just, you know, I do these videos because, you know, I have a lot to say, man, and I talk about things I think are important, and it's good feedback to hear that you know, there's other people out there that not just agree with me, but are giving these topics thought. And on that note, I want to talk a little bit about this consent decree that came down for Chicago Police Department. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, that's basically, I think LAPD, my old home team, you know, we kind of inadvertently pushed the envelope or pushed that into the police and versus the public lexicon with the Rodney King quote-unquote beating, which was not a beating at all. It was an arrest. I don't want to relitigate that one though. But that started the ball rolling, and we lived under a consent decree for a long time. I don't even know if LAPD is still under that, but you know, this is like a federal court order that, you know, the department in Chicago and probably other departments, I think Ferguson's in the same boat, but that they are going to have to be under the watchful anti-police eye of the government and civilian groups that want to do everything they can to show that they're pro Black Lives Matter and pro criminal and anti-cop. So who loses in that? You, the cops. And I'm talking to cops and civilians that are interested in what happens with their police departments. Listen, one of the things that Loretta Lynch, and I can't believe that bitch is still popping up on my TV. I just can't wait till she's gone. But she was talking about, Charlie, don't eat that. What the hell are you eating? But Charlie's still doing good, by the way. But she was talking about, as an example, she's talking about suspects that were tased simply for not following verbal commands. Man, I flipped out on the couch when I saw that. And I made a really quick little video I posted on Twitter, I think. You know, that's what the taser was invented for. And let me educate the non-educated, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Put yourself in a police officer's position. So you're a cop, and you're telling me, for whatever reason, whether it's legitimate or not, that'll all be ironed out later. You're telling me that you want me to put my hands behind my head, turn around and come down on my knees, and I just stand there and say, fuck you, pig. Okay, the way things usually work, in my day, I would have broke your jaw. And when the taser came out, I would have lit you up. And, you know, that's what cops have been doing. You know, if a guy doesn't follow verbal commands, you step it up a notch. And, you know, 50,000, 60, 100,000 volts of electricity usually change a guy's mind. You take this tool away from police officers, and you tell them that they cannot tase somebody for failing to follow verbal commands. What do you leave them with? I had said on this little video, what do you want to stand there and pray with this guy for the next 18 hours? What is the incentive for a suspect carrying a weapon or carrying drugs or whatever? What is the incentive for him to follow your verbal commands if there's no repercussions if he doesn't? I'm going to pause. I got to take some pictures here of the sunset. Hang on. If a suspect refuses to follow verbal commands, and you have him on a, for the sake of this discussion, a legitimate, I know I tend to give the benefit of the doubt to police officers. Thank you very much. So hang on a second, I got somebody coming. Little do you know that I paused the camera and I just had a half-hour conversation with a really cool dude. We'll probably become gay lovers now. But man, look at this sunset. That's beautiful. So what the hell was I talking about? Tasing people. Man, it's really hard to get interrupted and then come back. Let me get my shit together, hang on. You know, it's so beautiful out here. I keep getting distracted. I meet people and then I stop to take pictures, and then Charlie does something cute. Look at Charlie. Look how cute he is. Charlie. You enjoying the view? Yes, you are. Yeah, it's hard to talk about police work when I'm in such beautiful scenery. But what was I talking about? About tasing people. If you take away a person who's legitimately stopped, you know, for all the meets all the legal threshold for a legitimate police stop, and you have no recourse when a guy is refusing to follow verbal commands, you are in great danger as a police officer. And, you know, cops understand what I'm talking about. And I really hope you speak up if you can do it, you know, without getting in trouble on this channel. But the reality is that the taser, you know, in the old days, what we would do is we would say literally, you know, put your hands behind your head and, you know, whatever, turn around, put your hands behind your head. If a guy said, hey, fuck you, you know, we went to the baton, you know, because here's the reason, and to civilians that might sound extreme, but you got to understand, if I'm a bad guy and I'm wanted in 6 states for 7 murders or for whatever, and I've got a stolen gun in my waistband, and I just need to get to it so I can kill the pig that's trying to arrest me or detain me, I need him to move in and get physical with me. Think about this. So if he tells me put my hands on my head and I say, hey, fuck you, and he comes in to put a firm grip on me or some wrist lock or whatever, he stepped into my trap, and now in the scuffle I can either take my gun out and blow his brains out, or I can take his gun away from him and blow his brains out with his own gun. This happens all the time. So a taser is life-saving. It saves the lives of the suspects. It's not cruel and unusual. You know, 1 out of every 650 million tasings results in a death because the guy hits his head or he had an underlying condition. But the fact of the matter is, tasers are life-saving, and if some stupid liberal-generated consent decree takes this away from officers, I got a message for you guys. It's not just the tasing, but the whole... You guys are targets, in case you didn't know that, and I don't mean targets necessarily for getting killed. You already knew that. These liberal civilian watchdog groups and federal watchdog groups are not here for your protection. They want to make names for themselves, and the way they do that is they put officers in prison. So, as if you don't have enough to think about. You know, I always say that when a police officer is making a life and death decision, he or she's got to consider the shooting itself, the background, whether or not it's in policy, how this is going to look on the news, you know, losing their home in a lawsuit, going to prison, on and on and on. Oh yeah, and by the way, I could get killed in the middle of this arrest. There's no incentive for officers to be aggressive, and when I mean aggressive, I mean it in a good way. Guys like me in my day, we were aggressive officers, meaning that we went out and looked for bad guys, and we wanted to make a difference in the neighborhood. We wanted to take bad people off the street so that the good people could live in peace. Those officers that are out there now, which is the majority that think like that, there's no place for you because you have no support, you have no backup from the politicians. My advice, as sad as it is if you've got 5 or 8 years to go, answer radio calls, sit in the car, don't be proactive, don't look for reasons to stop and detain people. Concentrate on keeping your ass alive so you can retire. If you're a brand new officer, you better think twice about the career you've chosen, and if you're not willing to play by these insane rules, maybe you need to join the fire department. You know, if you want to help people, hats off to you, I salute you. Law enforcement is not what it used to be, and let the citizens get what they deserve. And you know what? I mean, quite frankly, a society that allows this type of over scrutiny and gotcha tactics against its own protectors, they deserve to have long response times. They deserve to have nobody show up to their calls for help. Fuck them all, man. This is about you. You got one life to live. Don't give it up because of some stupid ass consent decree or some stupid freaking anti-cop sentiment. You got a Congress that allows this picture to be hung in the halls of Congress where you got cops, you know, with pig faces. Fuck them. It's like I said on Twitter, you know, they say it's free speech to have that picture up in the halls of Congress. So if we put a big painting of a grand wizard of the KKK up there, is that free speech? Would these black activists, these racist blacks, would they argue on behalf of that picture to stay there? Of course not. They hate white people, they hate cops, and they really hate white cops. So that's pretty much it, man. I you know, God bless all you guys out there and guys and women wearing the badge, but, you know, try to get an inside job, you know. The idea is to make it through your career and get a retirement. Don't die on the streets for these idiots. And before I leave, I want to give a shout out and a thank you and a cyber hug to the civilian, to the armed civilian in Arizona. I don't know all the details, but a police officer was fighting for his life after having been shot twice, once in the shoulder, once in the chest. He's in serious condition. And some good Samaritan driving by at the end of a long story retrieved his weapon from his vehicle and shot and killed this asshole that was trying to kill the cop. Out fucking standing. This guy, somebody told me on Twitter or Facebook somewhere, somebody said, hey man, this guy should be exempt from all state taxes for the rest of his life because he saved the state a lot of money in prosecuting and jailing this asshole. So you know what, there's an argument for pro-gun, for gun, you know, concealed carry and open carry, or whatever the hell the law was in Arizona. I think it was open carry. There's a pro-gun news story that you probably won't see on too many news channels, but a civilian with his head on right took matters into his own hands and blew the shit out of some asshole that was trying to kill a cop, airborne. All right, I've rambled enough. You guys take care. LMS Tactical. Sorry this was a little bit loopy, but you know, I got interrupted by beautiful nature and dog walkers and people that wanted to talk. And yeah, that's it, man. Hope you guys are doing good. LMS Tactical. Me and Charlie are out. Woof. Take care. That area where everybody says they feel the ground rumbling. I don't feel it.